I have actual streamable music coming out on the 26th of July. Today, I just wanted to recreate this little look in a get ready with me style video while I talk about the song. Because, hoo boy, have I been on a roller coaster with this damn single. Right, so I think it's pretty evident that I don't have the best setup for a get ready with me. We're just gonna go with the flow. So yeah, Sally the Monster Slayer. It's one of the first songs I ever wrote. I started learning piano when I was about 10 years old. Did it for like, I want to say 5 years, and then decided I really didn't like actually learning. It made it all very forced for me, when all I ever wanted to be able to do was have fun. And so I gave up. Fast forward many years later, I moved back to my homeland in Spain, which is actually currently where I am, hence different background. And yeah, I was really lonely for a while. Really struggled making friends and just making a life for myself in a different city. And around that time, I was listening to a lot of screaming females, Cardiacs, and also Joanna Wang. I really wanted to take my singing seriously. So I'd moved to Spain, I was feeling pretty lonely, I was getting into singing, and I realised maybe I should try writing an actual song. And so I did. I spent like some time having fun, writing songs, and then on a very random New Year's Eve, somebody from my past emerged. What transpired was the most significant relationship I think I will probably ever have in my whole entire life. And that's who Sally is, because yes, this story tells the tale of queer love. Hello, mum and dad, if you're watching this video, yes, I'm gay. That should come as absolutely no surprise to you. I don't tend to divulge my sexuality to people because it's not very interesting. I'm pretty out amongst all my friends who are also gay. So, I mean, if you've missed that, dear people who know me, I don't know how. Look at who I socialise with. That looks about right. The song basically tells a tale about two people who really love and really need each other. And it's a very hopeful song. Recording the damn thing proved to be a nightmare. So I actually work with one other person on my musical project. He does all the production for me. I know that might not sound like a lot to a lot of people. When you hear this song, there's drums, there's violins, there's a bunch of stuff that goes on, which I had nothing to do with. He was living in the UK, I was living in Spain. And so actually getting the damn thing recorded was kind of a bit of a hassle. When it was ready, I didn't even want to listen to it. Imposter syndrome is something that I have really struggled with when it comes to my music. Music, for some reason, for me, is something that I feel like I have no right to. In my mind, music is reserved for people who have been doing it for their whole lives. So I had to deal with that whole mental thing. I was still motivated in doing something with it, at least, you know, like I've written this thing. I like to share my things with the world. So I asked a friend of mine to design an album cover and asked him to help me with a stop motion, which will be the official music video that is coming on the same day as the track. And then my friend died. He died really suddenly in November 2022. The last message I ever sent him was about the music video. So now, not only is this song important to me because it's about a very important relationship in my life, I also have artwork that a friend of mine who died created for me to use for the damn song. So when I tell you that this song has taken on so much more meaning than it ever had to begin with, I really mean it. Then a bunch of other life stuff happened, but the song was out there, it was ready to go, and I just really couldn't bring myself to bring it out. It was a massive mixture of this song making me feel incredibly vulnerable and also feeling like I had no right to bring it out in the first place anyway, because I got into songwriting later in my life, whereas there have been people who've been doing it forever, which is a kind of interesting form of imposter syndrome. It's not like I don't think I'm any good. On the contrary, I actually think I'm fairly talented when it comes to songwriting and when it comes to music. But I just don't feel like I'm allowed to take up space in the music world. Between all this like driving myself insane with imposter syndrome, the art for the song being by a friend of mine who had died, totally not being over the person who the song is actually about, I put it off and 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 off. I also entered like a massive creative slump, and then things in my life started to settle down. I was finding that I had a lot of time, and honestly this thing was eating away at me in the back of my mind because my friend had created art for me that I was putting off putting into the real world. Now my entire reason for bringing out this song is for him. I want people to see his characters, I want people to see his little drawings. He was such a special human. As a queer person, I find it very difficult to trust and exist around straight people in general, specifically straight men. I never felt weird or awkward or embarrassed or unsafe around my friend. He was a really sweet, kind, accepting human being, and he really liked the song. I didn't even get to show him the finished thing. I showed him a really rough recording of it, and he was just so happy to be involved. I actually initially asked him to do like a full-blown animation for me. He was taking his sweet time with it, and I was sort of getting to the point where I was like, I just want to bring it out. I was like, look, if you let me use your characters, I'll do a stop motion, and he was cool with that. This song now, for me, has just taken on so much meaning. And I'm scared to bring it out because I don't want it to disappear. I don't want nobody to hear it. I don't want it to just become something that exists on the internet that nobody sees, especially the video, because it includes my friend's art. I know myself well enough to know that once it's out there, I'm just going to be happy that it's out there. I've got to hold on to that for now. And I really have to remind myself that the reason I started this channel in the first place, it was just a dumping ground for my music. But then it's also kind of like a really weird double-edged sword. I see so many people doing stuff with their music. I'm like, I wish I could be one of those people. I wish I could be one of those people that find success in creativity. This song in particular, it's really personal. Bringing it out is a really big deal. I don't want it to come to nothing. I'll be posting a premiere for the video actually. Make sure that you're subscribed for that. Make sure you keep an eye out for it. Amazingly, I've actually nearly finished with this look, which is great. I'm gonna do my lipstick and then I will be right back. Okay, internet friends, what do we think? Have I done it? I think I've done it. Thank you for watching till the end if you stuck around. I have a really hard time putting myself out there online. I really do. But I very much have the attitude of like, well, if I don't try, then nothing's ever gonna happen, is it? So here is me trying. So yeah, Sally the Monster Slayer, a story about queer love that has taken on so much more meaning than I ever intended it to. Streaming everywhere from the 26th of July. Pre-save link down below. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, etc. So the link will be in my bio. Wherever you consume my stuff. There are more songs coming this year. I'm working towards an EP. So yeah, stick around. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. Bye.
Once upon